I'm an artist. My name is Jess Nikitina. The kind of art I do is documentation through photos, through words, and recently a lot more tactile sort of work, so working with textiles and knitting and crafting. Art and creating are both important to me because I feel like it acts as a connection between self and outer world, and often shows how they're pretty blurred. The world impacts us so significantly, constantly, but at the same time I guess we have the agency to make impact on the world as well. So I think it's important to me because it reminds me of that pretty consistently, when I think we can forget that in the normal hustle of everyday life. I think creating allows me to explore ideas in a new way as well. I think just writing an idea down can feel so limiting, and thinking through one particular lens, but I guess different art forms, and I guess that's why sometimes I really struggle to pick an art form that I like the most and that I want to hone, on its own, because I feel like there's just so many lenses we can look through to create new things and to communicate ideas about ourselves and about the world. My favourite thing about being an artist is, I think, the fact that, again, it sort of questions your identity on the daily. It makes you a lot more self-reflective and reflexive as well. I think it makes you question every day, what do I create and why am I creating it? And why am I an artist, or what makes me an artist? Which I feel like is just at its core a question of what makes me a human being on this earth at this point in time. And I feel like it's often the most deeply exact way of asking those kinds of questions, by sort of thinking of yourself as an artist, but taking on board all the questions that come along with that as well. I hope that in reaction to my art, or when people are engaging with it, they feel appreciative of the small glimmers or moments that sometimes pass us. I guess that's why I'm so obsessed with documentation more than anything, and in so many different ways, to be able to grasp moments and put them into a form that when you look back on later, or when someone else looks back on later, they can take some meaning out of it or make some meaning out of it. Yeah, and so I feel like a lot of the time I'd love for people to be reminded of these special, shiny moments, but more and more I also really want people to just have fun in reaction to art, and for there to be a sense of play and curiosity, and for it to not always have to be so serious in a sense. But I'm still figuring that out because I don't know if I'm that funny, so gonna work on my humour and then work on the art too. A lot of little moments, I guess that's what maybe a lot of artists would say, the day-to-day, the mundane, and just sort of piecing together things from that, creating some sort of longer story, or seeing the patterns in the day-to-day life that we find really interesting and take something out of. But also being with my family. A lot of the time my photos and the documentation I do is about family, because I just feel like, from an anthropological background as well, something that I studied, and I feel like it's really important for us to look inward before we look outward, take the things that we understand but sort of unpack them and deconstruct them in a sense, as opposed to looking outward at really special things that seem like an anomaly to us. I think it's really interesting to more so unpack the things that are closer to us. Similar to what I said before, this connection between self and outer world, but in a sense, I guess, to me it means creating new worlds, or at least new worlds that are new to you, or maybe it's more not creating but uncovering, because I tend to think all the worlds are there, the potential for them are there, but it's just about how we shape it, and how we keep uncovering layers and hitting some sense of truth ultimately. But that's a long process, I suppose. But that's what I guess art means to me. Hopefully I'll be able to look at a lot of photos I've taken one day and different ways I've documented people's lives. For example, my sister, taking photos of her since she was really young, and since, in a sense, I was really young as well, and just seeing how both sides of the lens, in a way, grow and develop, and being able to see that as a full collection one day. I guess that would be a huge aspiration of mine. Yeah, I'm also working on a little book about stories and feelings of sisterhood. So it all connects a lot to, I guess, the experience of having a sister, being a sister in whatever way that might, be experienced for different people. And specifically focusing on this, my Asian identity and that mingling with this identity of being a sister, and how sometimes a lot of that first sister responsibility can be a daunting experience, really can be a struggle. So yeah, my book will be about exploring the highs and lows of being a sister, especially a big sister. I'm also working really hard on and focusing a lot on programming and producing with Way Over There Collective, a collective based out here in the southeast, which started not too long ago, mid last year. And we're all about raising the voices and opportunities for BIPOC creatives out here in the southeast. So we've got lots of programs and things happening this year and working a lot on that.